A prophet of God has said, "Know ye not that eternities ago your spirit, pure and holy, dwelt in your heavenly Father's presence?" As you beheld the scenes transpiring there and grew in intelligence, you saw worlds organized and peopled with kindred spirits who took upon themselves bodies, died, were resurrected, and received their exaltation on the worlds they once dwelt upon. You longed and you prayed to your Father in heaven for the time to arrive when you could come to earth, to receive a body, and to do all things according to our Father's counsels and commandments, to be tested and proved and prepared for the highest privilege of everlasting life. In this premortal state, as you anticipated coming to earth, it's very possible that you discussed the opportunities as well as the hazards Earth life would present. The challenge of having to live by faith in a world filled with temptation was no doubt made clear.
It's hard to imagine a world with temptation. Everything here has been so peaceful and beautiful.
But on Earth it will be different. If it were possible, even the very elect would be deceived.
We will be free, though, to choose whether we'll follow Lucifer or our Father. But to have the veil drawn so completely...
It must be, so that we can grow.
But there are other reasons for our going to Earth.
To acquire a mortal body.
And to find an eternal partner to marry.
It's strange after this union, this marriage, that we'll be inseparably joined to another soul.
Not inseparably. This union will last forever only if it's performed in the way Father has commanded and by his authority.
Otherwise, we won't have eternal increase.
Mm-hmm.
Are you frightened?
There are so many ways we could fail. To be there on our own, not remembering how important it is. How much hangs in the balance.
We won't be entirely on our own. We'll be given commandments to guide our lives.
I feel so unprepared. If only I wish I could see into mortality for a moment. Your own creepy specimens. Max? Hey, Max, I gotta talk to you.
Later!
I've gotta talk to you now.
About what?
You know, about us.
Not that again.
Look, Max, I'm not going to marry you outside the temple. Oh, Max, why can't you compromise?
Your idea of a compromise is for me to do things your way.
But you know you could get a recommend with some effort. Don't try to change the subject. Max, I want to marry you, but not for now. For always.
Look, Jan, you can only live one moment at a time, okay?
And what do you do when you run out of moments?
I grew up on my mother's testimony. Dad never was a member. So when I got out on my own, things just kind of didn't add up.
Well, like what, for example?
Well, for one thing, it's pretty hard for me to figure all the unhappiness that's found in the world. Look at all the innocent people who suffer through no fault of their own except that they just happen to be alive.
And you think God's responsible for all that?
I agree with Dr. Legner. If God put us here, then he should be accountable for what happens to us.
I don't have all the answers, Max. And I can't talk as fast as you and Dr. Legner. But I do know that truth and justice will eventually win out.
There you go, waving your testimony. Look, Jan, what is truth? Who's justice? You know something? You are really naive. And I love it. Marry me, Jan.
Jan, you didn't tell him you would.
Well, I didn't tell him I wouldn't. It isn't what he does that's wrong as much as what he doesn't do. He has so many doubts. If Max and I were married, couldn't I study with him and help him believe?
Or he could help you learn not to believe.
No, he could never.
Listen, sis. There are enough little problems in marriage. Don't start with the big one.
But we get along so beautifully otherwise.
But consider the other wise. Sitting alone in sacrament meeting while he'd rather be out riding his motorbike or fishing. And later your son's going to priesthood by themselves, if they go at all. And your daughter's going to church alone. And there's always the threat of death and separation. Permanent separation.
Anybody home? Hi, sweetheart. Hi, my boy. Come and see Dad. All right, what's Max done now?
He's asked me to marry him.
Again? That's not news. Jan, are you thinking of marrying him outside the temple?
Frankly, Paul, between Max and my roommate, my resistance is getting mighty low.
Hey, do you want to hear the latest from Sergeant Darrell Parks?
Sure.
My dearest Debbie, I'm not only counting the days and hours, but I'm now down to the minutes and seconds. Just think, 5 more days and we'll be together again. Have you found a new apartment or will Jan move out? Oh, here's the part I was telling you about. She needn't move. Tell her if she'll hurry and marry Max, we'll let them stick around for a while rent-free. I'm loaded with back pay. I've really had it good being stationed here for the past 9 months. By the way, you'd be proud to know that I went to sacrament meeting last Sunday. Well, gotta go now. Keep the lamp in the window. Yours always, your loving husband, Darrell. 5 more days. Do you realize that's an eternity?
Here, best way to kill time is to beat it to death. 100 more and I'll get the oven.
Hey, if you get married next week while Darrell's home, we can stand up with you.
I'd much rather we'd all go through the temple together.
Give us 3 months. We'll be ready by then.
That's what you said when you married him.
So he's a little bit behind schedule. You heard his letter.
Anyway, I doubt if 3 months would really change Max.
Listen, 3 more months and Max won't even be around. If you love him, you'll marry him soon. Next week while Darrell's home.
How could I do it that way?
I know. It's a tough decision. I went through it myself. But Max won't wait.
Satan has tried all kinds of ways to circumvent marriage, especially temple marriage.
That's because it's just the opposite of everything he stands for.
I know it must be wonderful to have a husband and a family that are yours forever. I know it makes you try harder.
You're right, Jan. But there's more to it than that. There's a feeling that comes from knowing that you've done it the way the Lord wanted. You can call on him for help with your marriage, and he'll do everything he can because you've done your part.
You'll need his help, Jan. Every marriage does.
There's nothing like the security that comes from being married in the temple.
This all happened in another time, huh? In a gentler age, in an age when Western man still believed in a life eternal, a God, mother, and chocolate cake. In an age when life was relatively simple, and man still had much to learn about his roots and his environment.
Dr. Legner, what you said about belief in God, Some of us still believe.
Well, that's certainly your privilege. I imagine all of us would like to believe in something, huh? Some overruling providence.
But what if this overruling providence, as you call him, has placed us here so that we can choose between good and evil in order to prove ourselves?
Oh, that's a nice theory. But you see, it's only a theory, and it's completely unprovable. Here, come to my office.
Dr. Legner, does everything have to be proven? The metaphysicians say no.
And the verificationists say yes. And there you have it. You see the age-old arguments. Now, the conclusions of the great modern-day thinkers tend to support the no-God people. Now, there's a well-known playwright here that writes in one of his plays, "The sky's quite empty. The scientists have gone over it with a fine-tooth comb and a telescope, and the verdict is no God, nothing there, empty and sterile like a boiled test tube." Now, Jan, even this is an individual thing. If your kind of philosophy works for you, then far be it from me to try to find
You're Dr. Legner. He reminds me of the men spoken of in the Bible. Always learning, but never coming to a knowledge of the truth.
Trying to discover whether or not God exists by reasoning and logic is impossible. My faith doesn't rest on logic, but on my experiences. So many things have happened to me in my life that I couldn't deny the existence of God even if I tried.
But Dr. Legner really has an influence over Max. And in his zoology classes, Max just can't rationalize evolution and religion. Well, you're a scientist and a teacher, Paul. What do you tell your students about evolution?
Well, I tell them that I take organic evolution very seriously, and that there's much that's in it that's sound. On the other hand, we don't know everything, and we might even have to change our minds about a lot of things. I believe that when we know everything about nature and about religion, it will all fit together perfectly. In the meantime, I keep an open mind and continue searching. And I try to give my students the concept of an intelligent, loving God who has made a world so fantastically intricate and beautiful that it truly amazes us. To me, there's no real conflict between science and true religion.
Our way is more direct, that's all.
That's because we have a test that science doesn't recognize.
The test of spirit.
Jan, I'm not made of stone. I can't wait forever.
But we wouldn't have to wait if... Don't you understand? Max, I want you to be what you are, only more so. Deeper and truer to yourself.
Maybe you're looking for things that just aren't there.
I keep thinking about Mom and Dad. They had something so special. A warm and deep trust in one another.
Because they were married in a temple?
I'm sure it was.
Jan, it's such a long time to wait. We could get married next week and end all this misery.
I don't want to spend the rest of my life regretting that we didn't do it right.
It would be right. You and me, we're right.
Finished already?
No. Jan, how can I concentrate on the life cycle of an orthoptera when all I can think about is us?
I don't know how you can concentrate on anything down here. It's loud.
Jan, I like it. It's alive. Things are happening.
Just exactly what I'm not sure of.
Relax. You take life too seriously.
I enjoy life. Every minute of it. But I do remember why I'm here.
Here it comes, lecture number 27.
Oh, Max, we just seem to get further and further apart.
When we ought to be getting closer. Now, why does it have to be this way?
It doesn't. Max, come with me to see the bishop. Just talk to him. Explain the way you feel. Maybe he can help.
Yeah, he'll help. Now, brother, here's a list of no-nos, and we'll expect to see you in priesthood every Sunday. Oh, let's see. Your reward for paying your tithing and keeping the word of wisdom will be Sister Jan Breen.
I never dreamed you could be so bitter.
Well, Jan, if I am, you'll help make me this way. Look, it's always either or. Why can't we just be like everybody else?
Look around. Do you really want to be like them?
All right. All right, you look around next time you're in church. Do you really want to be like them?
Yes. Yes, I do. Good people, happy people who live quiet lives and love each other. Oh, Max, you don't even know what love is.
Things are changing in America and elsewhere. Time-honored traditions and mores are being eliminated from our culture, huh? And it's quite possible that the institution of marriage as we now know it will soon become a thing of the past.
Excuse me, Dr. Legner. Didn't Russia try that same thing with disastrous results?
Oh, I'm not speaking of free love, Max. Now, that's very obviously not the answer. I'm speaking of a relationship between men and women which can be entered into gracefully and just as easily gotten out of without all the ugly repercussions of divorce, huh? Alimony, child custody, child support, etc.
Okay, but under the system that you're proposing, what does happen to the children?
Now, mind you, I'm not proposing such a system, but I'm saying that such a code is evolving in America and in places all over the world. Now, as to the children, I'm sure that our government will have refined and extended our system of welfare so as to raise and educate them.
Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere.
How are you? Aren't you going to pay the cabbie?
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go.
How come you're so early? Thank you.
Max, I've got to talk to you.
I still can't believe it. It's too much. Darryl home and now you and Max. What on earth changed your mind?
I finally realized that if I don't take Max on his terms, I won't have him at all.
Are you sure seeing him with Shauna didn't help?
Sure it didn't. So did all those people who saw him with her and told me about it.
You don't know it, but she may be the best friend you ever had.
I hope you're right.
Believe me, you won't regret it. Look at me and Darryl. We still wouldn't be married if I'd waited for him to come around. As it is, we've had the excitement of the past year and a half, and we'll still be married in the temple.
Oh, Debbie, in the temple. When?
Well, we haven't talked about it yet, but I can just feel it. He's getting really close.
Stay as long as you want, no problem, you know. Wow, look at here.
Ready? Let's go.
Wait a minute. Before we go, I got a great idea. One toast. What do you say?
I told you they wouldn't like it.
Hey, honey, it's not the end of the world. Now, come on. They're getting married.
Daryl, you never...
Oh, how do you know I've never? Huh? Well, maybe it wasn't such a good idea after all. Max, we'll save it for my discharge.
Yeah. Come on, everybody, let's go.
What are you thinking?
I was remembering our wedding.
You're not sorry, are you? Are you? Debbie.
Here we are, dear. Jan, I feel like the luckiest guy in the world tonight. I really do. Hey, everybody, come on. Up back there.
Right.
We're going to a wedding.
Good. What took you so long?
Well, come on.
Let's go, sweetie. Hi, Mr. Golden. How are you?
Won't you come in? How do you do?
This is Jan, Max.
How do you do?
My fiance, sir.
Glad to know you. Just come right in. Would you sign the register, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. I guess we go in.
We just step this way, folks.
No, wait.
Jan, what's wrong?
Are you all right? Are you sure?
I'm fine, honestly. Max, I wanted to marry you, but I just can't. It wouldn't be me.
Trust me, Jan.
It's much too important. Believe me, I know what I want now. Does it have to be this way?
No, it's up to us.
It isn't going to be easy.
Earth life was never meant to be easy.
I hope when the time comes, I'll be strong enough.
You'll be as strong as you really want to be. Remember, we're free to act for ourselves, to choose our own eternity. And now, I must go.